Welcome to Kroxa. As far as our opening hand goes, I do like this, but we don't have a red source, so let's go and mulligan on this. We could try to get lucky or something, but and as far as yeah, I guess we got Toxic Deluge, which does kind of help us out with Gaddock Teeg, so we will keep on this one. So not the most exciting hand, but we've got Clackbridge Troll, which I'm actually really excited about. So we're gonna go keep on this one, and I guess at this point right now, let's just go and put Grave Titan on the bottom. We already have a big creature to work towards with Bridge, with Troll, and so I think that'll work out. So let's go and lead off with Blood Crypt. Yeah, there we go. Have that come into play. Not going to pay 2 life. And then anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Kroxa, Titan of Deaths. Let me see. Hunger. There we go. Whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield, sacrifices it unless it escapes. Then whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. And then let's go. Ooh, that is a beautiful option for us. Let's go Tormenting Voice. We could... Yeah, let's do this. So let's discard Clackbridge Troll. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, we'll discard that, and that'll give us the option for Reanimate. Ooh, and then we run into Ancient Cravings. That's perfect. So, anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. But yeah, with whenever it attacks, each opponent discards a card or enters the battlefield. Then each opponent who did not discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life, then escape for 4. Playing gets Gaddock Teeg, Mr. Kithkin over there. Non-creature spells with a converted mana cost 4 or greater can't be cast. Then non-creature spells with X in their mana cost can't be cast. So we do want to keep that in mind if we try to end up going for, Exsanguinate or something like that. But... I think for the most part, we should be in a pretty good position. We've got Reanimate on Clackbridge Troll, and then that puts us on Ancient Craving on turn 4. And so we're going to be in a pretty good spot. So, all right. And that's going to be Swamp. Let's have Marsh Flats come down. Let's go Reanimate on Clackbridge Troll. And this does have haste, which is a very nice option. They do get some little goat tokens, so we'll see if they want to end up going for that. Let's go ahead and crack Marsh Flats. The main thing is hopefully we can get in for a really nice chunk of damage. And then I just love that art. Let's get this popped out. Let's just go and grab Canyon, because that's going to enter the battlefield tap no matter what. So we might as well just go and grab it now. So let's go and swing in, see if our opponent wants to sacrifice one of those goat tokens. If not, we'll be able to, there we go. Gain some life, cash in a card draw. Anything else past the turn? I guess technically we should have waited to crack Marsh Flats, but I have a bad habit of hitting the yield button and forgetting to go for a fetch land. So had we not done that, we could have set it up with a Rakdos Signet. So a little bit of a sequencing error on my part, but hopefully we can bounce back from it. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to go into the fun house that is Kroxa's Belly, they've got it. You see, you can hop in there and just run around and have some fun. Head over to MTGOTraders. It's great fun for the entire family. They'll just, your kids will love it, or even you'll love it too. So, yeah, MTGOTraders. So let's have a Swamp come down. Let's see what our opponent's going to end up going for. Let's see if they're going to sacrifice another goat token. If they do, that's perfectly fine. That's going to allow us to get ahead on life. Oh, yes, I'm digging this. That is perfect. Eventually, they're going to run out of creatures. And at this point, we can go Rakdos Signet and then drop in Kroxa and make them discard a card if we wanted to. I think that sounds kind of good. Yeah, let's do that, because we're going to be able to get ahead on mana either way. And that still keeps us open on gamble if we need to do that. So let's have Kroxa enter the battlefield. And we are slowly working towards being able to escape out of the graveyard too, which will be nice. So let's click OK. Let's see if our opponent wants to see what they're going to discard off of this. All right, get rid of a forest. That's going to put them down to 24. We do have to actually, yeah, we'll just send it back to the command zone, I think, at this point right now. Let's go for a gamble. And I think if we're going to be gambling at this point right now, I want to grab something that's going to give us a little bit better card, or maybe some nice incremental card advantage. I think what we're going to probably try to do is end up going for Chainer. So let's see if this sticks in our hand. Okay, Toxic Deluge. It's a bummer we missed Toxic Deluge, but we got Chainer. The good thing about Chainer is that we can kind of keep that discard ability going, and that should hopefully work out for us. So they're going to get that lane tax trigger going. MTGOTraders, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com/Jolt. If you haven't treated yourself in a long time, make sure that you do head on over there. They've got a ton of play mats, a lot of different designs for you to choose from. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. You get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits to help support cool content like this. And if you can't do that, no problem. Tell somebody about the channel. If you want to get your hands on some of the tokens, I do a token drop each month. Make sure that you're a patron of my Patreon. You'll be automatically entered into my giveaway. So if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. Let's have some fun. Now, as far as this Kroxa deck, this is very much just, I didn't know where to take it. I didn't really want to go heavy discard. It is kind of a beating to play heavy discard in 1v1 Commander. And to be perfectly honest, that's just not the play style I want to take Kroxa. Because I just really like Kroxa coming out of the command zone and just really just being a nuisance for your opponent. It's not like we're trying to play something that we need to have Kroxa down. We need to go for these discard effects. Basically, we're just trying to use it as a way to just kind of nickel and dime our opponent, knock away some of their life total and make them discard a card. So that's kind of how we're setting this one up. So let's get the reveal zone popped up. It's going to be a Knight of the Reliquary. Ooh, and they've got Guy's Cradle. So that Toxic Deluge would have definitely worked out. So we may want to try to deal something with that. And there we go. And they're actually casting that, so we can just get rid of the reveal zone. We'll put it over here next to their commander. That way we can kind of keep track of it. So there we go. Okay. They do have a 5/5 Knight of the Reliquary. And let's see if we can't go for one more. Ooh, then Plaguecrafter. Okay, so how do we set this up? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 total mana, which is not everything that we want to do. We can still end up going set up Chainer for next turn. I still think we might end up. Let's just see. Let's go to our combat step. Let's see how they want to set this up. If they're going to sacrifice the goat, then we're perfectly fine with that. All right, so we're drawn to Smoldering Marsh. Let's go to our second main phase. And I think the best bet, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, would almost be Plaguecrafter in a way, because that's going to force them to get rid of Birds of Paradise and Knight of the Reliquary, and then we can use Chainer on that. So I think I kind of like doing that. So let's go for Plaguecrafter. We could go for Kroxa, but I think at this point we just want to have that option with Chainer. So let's have Plaguecrafter enter the battlefield. Each player is going to sacrifice a creature. It also makes a Clackbridge Troll a little bit better going forward, especially with this 8/8 trample. And nothing else for 3, so we're just going to go ahead and have Smoldering Marsh enter the battlefield and then pass the turn to our opponent. So there we go. But yeah, as far as the deck goes, this is very much kind of like a red-black good stuff deck. We've got all the good removal in here. We've got Terminate, Dreadbore, Bedevil, just a lot of options that keep the battlefield clear. That way we can basically just eliminate our opponent's threats, and then once we've gotten to that point till we get to the late game, my goodness, they've got 10 cards in the hand. And so with Kroxa, basically we're just using that as a way to kind of just start kind of chipping away at their hand, and then once they have nothing, use some sort of beater creature like Clackbridge Troll. We do have a Doom Whisperer in here with all his multiple hands kind of flying around. We have Stormbreath Dragon, Thundermaw Hellkite. We're basically just trying to exhaust our opponent on resources, and then once we get to that mid-game, just kind of go full out with some haste options or some mid-range threats, or if we need to go Grave Titan, Inferno Titan, whatever that may be, that's pretty much what we're going for. So, but next turn, we've got Chainer, so we might end up going Plaguecrafter on Chainer. We'll see if they decide to toss something in front of Clackbridge Troll. The good thing about that is we got 8, 16, 24. We got a 3-turn clock with Clackbridge, even if they don't do anything with it. So, but yeah, as far as Kroxa goes, it probably would have been a little bit better option for me to send Kroxa into the graveyard. It's kind of one of those things where, as I'm delivering commentary, sometimes I like the little mechanical side of actually right-clicking on Kroxa and saying, hey, go to the graveyard. You kind of forget about it sometimes, or at least in my head, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. But if I don't click on it or right-click on it, then that's what happened. So, but yes, I didn't go to the pre-release this weekend. I've been recording a bunch of Theros content, which I'm really excited about. And so hopefully you had a good pre-release. In fact, if you want to tell me about your pre-release, I would love to hear about whatever sort of cards that you pulled. And I'll kind of talk about my pre-release attendance here in a second. So I'm kind of happy with the way it's settling out for me as far as having fun. Oh, now we've got Knight of the Reliquary that's finally passed Clackbridge over there. So let's do that. So let's go ahead and swing in with Clackbridge. See if they're going to sacrifice Grand Abolisher, because then we still have the Chainer on Plaguecrafter line of play. So see if they want to sacrifice Grand Abolisher. That would be very nice if they do, because we will definitely take that card draw. Okay, they opt not to go for that. Let's go and push in with Clackbridge. That's going to be an 8/8. Put them down to 16 unless we see Grand Abolisher block. Okay, puts them down to 16. Let's have Swamp come down. Let's go Chainer. In fact, let's go ahead. I doubt we're going to see game control stuff, but since we have so many black sources, we're just going to get rid of Swamp. And let's go ahead and cast Playcrafter out of the graveyard. That way we can at least get rid of Grand Abolisher and then kind of force the issue with... there we go. We're actually just force the issue of getting rid of Knight of the Reliquary for next turn. So I'll see what they're tapping down for. They're going to regenerate target creature. And then anything else? No, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So our opponent did end up going for a Yavimaya Hollow activation on Grand Abolisher, but that gets around regeneration because regeneration is a destruction ability and Playcrafter is a sacrifice ability. So if you're wondering what just happened right there, that's pretty much it. So. But yeah, like I mentioned, this is basically just kind of Rakdos mid-range, which is, a lot of fun. It's very much like kind of like a Jeskai Spellslinger or a Blue-Red Is It Spellslinger deck without the tokens that accompany it along. It's basically just, it's fun to kind of build this deck in a way that, what kind of trouble can we get into? Can we get, like right now, we're kind of doing this Chainer Playcrafter line of play. Later, a different game, we're going to be going for Grave Titans, Inferno Titans, just different things like that. We are running a lot of artifacts in here, so we do have Herald of Anguish, which is one of my favorite cards in this deck. And it also works out really well with Kroxa. It's going to force them to discard a card at their end step. But yeah, as far as the Planeswalkers, we've got Daretti in here, the 3-mana Daretti, which is a we got Banishing Light. Okay. That's fair enough. And so we probably will end up going for Ancient Craving just to find some sort of answer for Knight of the Reliquary. That would be pretty good for us. So, and I know our opponent's got a ton of cards in the hand, but I think it's just that land tax just getting a lot of stuff going for them. Let's have Homeward Pen. Well, let's do this. Let's go for Ancient Craving. That way we can draw 3 cards, lose 3 live. Ooh, and then Merciless. That is exactly what we want to see. So let's have Swamp come down. Let's go for Merciless Executioner. That is going to be perfect. It's going to allow us to start swinging with Clackbridge Troll. And that's the other thing. We don't necessarily have to have Kroxa down. We can just use it. At this point right now with our opponent having so many cards with land tax, the discard ability off Kroxa is not that good. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. So with us getting rid of Knight of the Reliquary, that basically signaled that Clackbridge Troll is going to be able to swing in and start chipping away at our opponent's life total. But yeah, like I mentioned, with us not getting down Kroxa, it's just one of those scenarios where they have so many resources in the hand that it wasn't good for us to be going for discard at that point. There are plenty of games to where it gets to the late game and your opponent's just trying to go into top deck mode. That's when the deck really shines. But this particular game, thankfully, we were able to close it out with some nice mid-range creatures. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. As far as open, for some reason, I always want to say hunt, and I know it's not hunt, but I'm like, what is it? But it's hunger. As far as opening hand goes, we're going to keep on this one. I like it. We have at least 3 colored land sources. We've got Swamp, Marsh Flats, and Refuge. We've got Homeward Path. We have a sacrifice ability with Merciless Executioner. And then we have Bedevil, and then a wonderful mid-range option with Stormbrent Dragon. And yeah, that's good. We're going to keep. So let's go for Refuge. It's going to allow us to gain a life and get ahead on the life total race. So if you're keeping a score at home, we are in the lead. Call it quits. We've got this one. All right, anything else? Let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. Whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. Then whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. Then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. Then they have the escape ability for 4 total mana. Playing against a Grumgully the Generous. He's going to give you some of his magic mushrooms. I don't know if I would eat them if I were you, unless you're looking for something... If you're trying to find something deep inside of you or something like that. But either way, he's got them. He's very generous. Let's have Marsh Flats come down. So we've got Knight's Whisper. I think we've got a pretty good option. We've got Merciless on Birds of Paradise. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go for Kroxa. Because we've got Knight's Whisper for next turn. Let's get this popped out. Let's grab Badlands. Let's go Kroxa. It's going to go into the graveyard. We're going to have Night's Whisper. I think we still end up sending Kroxa back to the command zone. So, and this is what makes Kroxa so nice for a mid-range commander deck like this, is that we're not necessarily trying to grind the game out with like discard abilities. We're just trying to make sure that the early game, we just stunt their growth. We're making sure that they can't do things as quickly as possible before they assemble some sort of value board state. So, all right, and they do end up getting rid of a force, and yeah, I think we do end up sending Kroxa back to the command zone because we can cast it for 4. We just don't have the graveyard set up. We do have potentially Night's Whisper or something like that, but we're going to try to make this work. But yeah, we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to take your family or your loved ones and go play on the playground inside Kroxa's belly, head on over there. There's a lot of smoke and fire and ember, and it's very unsafe. Your family will love it. Head over to MTGOTraders. Also, quick shout out to ingaming.com/jolt. That's going to apply the coupon code and my Patreon. So have some fun. All right, Fabled Passage. Yeah, if you're keeping score, it is officially free time, and we are here to have some fun. So we've got Merciless on Birds of Paradise and Grumgully. We do have Bedevil that we go for Grumgully, but I think I kind of like going Night's Whisper. I kind of want to see what the payoff is. So yeah, let's do this. So let's have Fabled Passage come down. Since we do have a swamp in the hand, let's go and crack Fabled Passage, grab ourselves a red source, and look at that beautiful mountain. Love it. Let's go for Night's Whisper. Yeah, and then let's just kind of see what okay, 2 more lands. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent, and we'll kind of go from there. So, but yeah, let's kind of see what our Grumgully's got going on, our opponent's got it going on their side of the battlefield, and that'll kind of help us figure out our game plan. That's one of the fun things about us not going full like overboard discard on Kroxa, is that we're not committed to one particular game plan. We can basically just kind of use Kroxa as like a not necessarily pack, or what is it? Burglar Rat. It's like we got Burglar Rat out of the command zone. Then once we get to that mid-range threat, we can kind of get our graveyard assembled, or at least kind of like right now, we're going to be able to recast it for 4, make them discard a card, and then now we're finally going to get to the point to where we're going to bring Kroxa back out. So it just really does fit with that mid-range game plan. And okay, so our opponent said they're a friend of the channel, so very nice. I'm glad to get to play against a friend of the channel. And they said hopefully we can finish before the baby wakes up. So, and then also baby talk. So let's have Swamp come down. And I think now's the time to go for Kroxa. Let's go Kroxa. It's gonna be red. The commander cost. So we're getting that let's make and then also keep this in mind. If you're playing on Magic Online, you need to. We're gonna get the triggers on the stack first. You need to right click on your commander and have it go to the graveyard instead of the command zone. So if you're going to be an escaping person, that's something you need to keep in mind, especially with your commander, because if you don't, it's going to default to the command zone, and it's not going to be fun. So, all right, opponent. Ooh, they got rid of Mana Crypt, and then anything else. Let's just go and pass the turn to our opponent. So I've got Kroxa coming out of the graveyard for 2, which is not actually, excuse me, for 4 total mana, and then we can set some stuff up from there. But as far as the rest of the deck, like I mentioned, this is a mid-range threat deck. You see, we got Stormbred Dragon. We also do have Thundermaw Hellkite. We've got Doom Whisperer, Clackbridge Troll. We got double Dueling Titans, Inferno Titan, Grave Titan. What we're really just trying to do is just assemble this value board state and just use the potency of Rakdos, removal, Bedevil, Terminate, Dreadbore, different things like that to just make it really hard for our opponent. Inferno Titan's not going to win you the game, but it comes down and it just puts your opponent in this position of like, oh, what do we do about this? This is not good for us. And so we've got Thran Dynamo in addition to a land drop, which allows us to go for a sacrifice. I think that sounds like a pretty good option. So we do have 2 basics, so Smoldering Marsh will come into play untapped. So let's go for Thran Dynamo. That's going to allow us to have that come down and then still kind of chip away at our opponent's board state. I think that's going to be a pretty good option for us. So let's have Thran Dynamo come down. Let's go for Playcrafter. Well, let's go Merciless Executioner. That way, just in case for some reason we need Playcrafter to sacrifice Planeswalker, something like that, and then we can do that. So we're going to go and sacrifice Merciless Executioner, and then we do have Escape for 5. So yeah, that's going to be 5 other cards from the graveyard. And we do have Reanimate in here, but Reanimate is strictly just kind of like a value play for us to go for, whether it's our opponent's discard options, because, let's say they discard a bigger threat, we can use Reanimate to our advantage. And then we can also do other stuff like bring something back, Merciless Executioner. So the way this deck is set up is you do want to be aggressive with paying for that escape cost. That way you can just really start attacking your opponent's hand. That's what makes it so good. Now, as far as next turn goes, we do have Kroxa out of the graveyard. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We still need to get one more card before we go for that exile. So we might end up going for Stormbreath Dragon. Playcrafter on Birds of Paradise might be nice, but we'll kind of see what they've got. They do have Mary's Guile, which is going to generate them some card advantage, and so we'll see what we can assemble. But at least kind of going Stormbreath Dragon, that'll get some sort of option for us to kind of start swinging in and chipping away at our opponent's life total. But yeah, outside of the mid-range threats for the deck, we've got pretty much just it's just card draw, rocks, and removal. This is very much a controlling style deck with a mid-range sprinkling on top. So I was very excited to build that. You could definitely kind of go like Liliana the Veil with Kroxa, but yeah, don't underestimate the being able to just chip away at your opponent's life total on turn 2 in Commander is a very nice thing to go for. So you can certainly do that. So our opponent did tap out for Grumgully, so I kind of actually like going for Stormbreath Dragon. So let's have Stormbreath Dragon come down. That's going to be red, and then 1, 2, 3. That's going to be Flying Haste protection from white. So this is going to give us the good option of just really kind of just swinging in at our opponent. We do have Playcrafter on Birds of Paradise. That does give us the escape cost. I think that's what we end up going for. Let's do that. All right, so we're going to have Playcrafter enter the battlefield. That's going to give us the option for Kroxa out of the graveyard for the escape ability, and then we can really just kind of start... the other good thing is that once you get Kroxa on the battlefield, it sticks around. That's pretty good right there, because you're just going to be able to swing in. You've got a 6/6 beater, and then it's just going to have that discard ability. All right, so we're going to have Playcrafter come down. Let's go and sacrifice Playcrafter. There we go. Each player is going to sacrifice. See if they end up sacrificing Grumgully. All right, so they do end up keeping Grumgully. We're going to have a Blood Crypt enter the battlefield tapped. So let's go and swing in for 4. And then anything else going past the turn. Now, one thing that I just now remember that would be really good in this deck is Anger. I didn't put Anger in here. Just having Kroxa have haste out of the graveyard. Whew. That's a pretty good option. So I'm going to try to do that for our not next game, but at least get it updated across the deck list. So, but yeah, also, as far as pre-release goes, I don't know if you attended a pre-release this weekend. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. Hop in the comments below. I've been recording a bunch of Theros content this weekend, as you can tell if you've been watching it. I've released, in fact, if you come across this video and you didn't know, I released Euro yesterday, and I released Heliod. So depending on when you watch this, just go to my channel and find Euro and Heliod if you want to check out a few more of the commanders. But yeah, as far as pre-releases go, I really do enjoy pre-releases. I used to go to them all the time. I'd do 2 pre-releases, different things like that. But it just got to the point to where with channel stuff, like, it also didn't help that every time I went, I'd always just open up like my promo rare would be like the 7-drop rare that's like just not good, and then that would be my double pack. I mean, like, that's just always what would end up happening. I would just end up with this horrible pool, and so and then also, with the channel stuff, like, I've gotten to the point now to where, like, I have had so much fun this weekend getting all these Theros commanders ready. I've had a lot of fun doing the prep work, the making the deck list, the thumbnail, the overlay art. So it's kind of like this is almost like my own pre-release in a way, that I get to record these videos and then have them ready for you as the viewer whenever you get back from your pre-release. So that's kind of... I've had a couple of different people ask about if I was going to a pre-release, and I decided not to go this year and just kind of record a bunch of Magic content, and I've enjoyed it. It's been pretty cool. So we've got Lesser Mastercore that came down. 4 mana, deal 1 damage. Does have Persist to 1 target creature. All right, so we're going to see Grumgully swinging across for 3. That's going to put us down to 19. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do have 7 for Monstrosity, with Monstrosity 3. And that's going to be one card in their hand if we end up going for Monstrosity. So we'll see exactly what we want to end up going for. We at least do have Bedevil on a different option, but I think Kroxa is going to be the better bet for us. So, and then in fact with Faithless Looting, that makes it even better. So let's go Faithless Looting. We're going to draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. Monstrosity is nice, but at least having 2 more threats on the battlefield, that's pretty much what we want to see. So let's discard Homeward Path, and then I think actually Swamp would be... better because we can Prismatic Vista and still kind of get that same effect. Yeah, that'll work out. All right, so let's have Prismatic Vista enter the battlefield. Let's go and crack Prismatic Vista. It's going to fuel that Kroxa ability. And I think at this point, we'll just grab a swamp. Doesn't really matter. Let's go for Kroxa out of the graveyard. Cast with Escape. That's going to be double black, double red. And then let's go and exile. We have no life from the loam, so we're just going to start picking apart these lands. And then, yep, should be okay. We can have Kroxa enter the battlefield, make them discard that last card in their hand, and then we can start swinging in with the Stormbreath Dragon. So there we go. But yeah, this is pretty much what the game plan wants to do. You know, attack their hand early, make them discard a card, disrupt something that's going to make them get a good value engine assembled, and then once you get to that mid-range game, just start going ham, swinging in with some big creatures. Just go and swing in with Stormbreath Dragon. It's going to be a 4/4, put them down to 19, and then next turn we've got Kroxa. The other good thing about having a enter the battlefield kind of discard style commander is that you force your opponent into a top deck mode. You force them into making tough decisions. And that helps you out because the way we have this deck set up, you know, we've got Bedevil, we've got Murderous Rider. So right now they have Miri's Guile. What we're going to be able to do is just kind of force them to like, okay, how do I win? I have to get one threat out because Kroxa is going to swing in. So you're kind of accelerating their game plan. They're getting something down quicker than they want to because you have that threat of making them discard it. Then you can use something like Bedevil and Murderous Rider. So you're just kind of in a roundabout way, you're getting that 2-for-1, which really does kind of work out. So that's why you don't necessarily have to take Kroxa into a super heavy discard package. You certainly can if you want to, and it's going to work out well because it's going to help you go for that, especially if you want to build an 8-rack deck. You know, that's going to be a wonderful commander. Rakdos 8-rack is probably pretty stout and probably pretty fun to play. And so, yeah, go for it, whatever you want to end up doing. Okay, so Bedevil, Murderous Rider, and Chaos Warp. So we do have the option of going for Stormbreath for Monstrosity. That's going to be 7. That's going to be 13. Or we can just kind of clear the way, and that's going to be 10, puts them down to 9. I think we just kind of clear the way. Yeah, let's go Murderous Rider. Oh. oh, that's a bummer. I meant to cast that as a spell. That stinks. All right, so let's go Bedevil on. Just got ahead of myself. All right, so let's go Bedevil on Grumgully. Sorry, Grumgully. He looks so. I always hate going for a burn spell on Grumgully or a removal spell. He looks so nice. Let's go and swing in with Kroxa and Stormbreath Dragon. Got them swinging across, and that's the other cool thing about building Kroxa in a mid-range option is that look at Stormbreath. It just you have this threat. You just basically you just want to keep your opponent under pressure, as much pressure as possible, without having to go full throttle, whatever, where you're just going without having to go heavy discard, because that is, depending on your meta, it is not very fun to play against sometimes. So, all right. So, unfortunately, we're going to see lesser Masticore block. We were going to try to end up going for that, but it would have came back with it. Well, I guess either way, it would have came back with the counter, and they would have been able to block. So, either way, that would have happened. So at least we do have Chaos Warp on Lesser Masticore. And if we want to get in for some... And actually, we do have Lethal. That's going to be Stormbreath, Kroxa, and Murderous Rider. So we probably will end up going for Chaos Warp on Lesser Masticore as a way to kind of get that under control. Now, our opponent did discard Woodfall Primus. So thankfully, we were able to kind of dodge that... that persist ability. Our opponent's got access to a ton of mana, and so we got pretty good on that one. But yeah, just tossing some good mid-range threats, and that's what kind of makes this commander, Kroxa, so cool, is that you can just kind of go into your collection and be like, what good Rakdos cards do I have? Because just denying your opponent's resources just works out really well with Kroxa. So that's one of the best things. All right, opponent's going to go for Beetleback Chief. Stormbreath is going to be in the air for 7 if we completely tap out for it. I think we might end up doing that. But if we do end up swinging in with Kroxa, that's going to allow us to chip away at their life total again. So that's going to be 7, that's going to be 10, puts them down to 2. Ooh, then Duretti. Okay. So let's see. What we do have Faithless Looting, because I guess now that I think about it, that's going to be 10 coming across. Let's just dig just with Faithless Looting to see. I mean, we could technically go for Monstrosity, but I think either way when it settles out, I don't think it's going to be exactly lethal. So let's get rid of Urborg. And then we'll get rid of... I think we get rid of Chaos Warp because there's some gnarly stuff in our opponent's deck. The odds of it happening are very, very slim. But if we Chaos Warp into a big threat, it kind of puts them back into the game. So I'm not super wild about that. All right, we're gonna have Daretti come down. Let's go for Daretti. We're gonna create the +1. We can actually -1 to sacrifice to destroy an artifact, and then we could sacrifice Soul Ring if we wanted to. I think that would be a good. Deals 1 damage target creature. Yeah, let's go and do that. Let's be aggressive. So we're going to destroy lesser. Actually, we'll just go and destroy Beetleback Chief, and then we're going to sacrifice Soul Ring. Yes, definitely want to use that. Yeah, we'll sacrifice Soul Ring. There we go. Let's get rid of Beetleback Chief. Let's go and swing in with the entire crew because now we've got a free swing in. We've got some lifelink, and this will be pretty good. We also got 3 damage from Kroxa coming across, which is going to be a very good option. So there we go. Swinging across is going to be 10, 12, so we do have lethal. We will probably see both of the goblins block on Murderous and Kroxa, but at least we got them down to 9, so that'll work out. Okay, so they're going to double block on Murderous Rider. That's going to be 1. There we go. Take care of those tokens. We're going to get a little bit of extra life gain, and then knock our opponent down to, should be 5. And also, if you can give Kroxa trample, my goodness, that is... There's even some pretty good equipment out there, like Loxodon Warhammer or something like that. It's definitely going to allow you to go for that. All right, looks like we're going to see Lesser Massacre deal 1 damage to Murderous Rider. Click OK. That's going to get rid of that. That's going to be put on the bottom of our library, and then anything else past the turn to our opponent. So now that we got Daretti available, we can sacrifice. We don't have any artifacts at this point. If we draw into an artifact, we can go for that. But at least at this point, we've got 4 in the air, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have just enough for that monstrosity. So if they don't have an answer for Kroxa, let's say they have an answer for Storm Breath. If they don't have an answer for Kroxa, either way, we've got a ground threat or a flying threat that's going to be able to kind of close the game out. So should be coast is clear on this one. And then I don't know what they they paid some mana to untap Mana Vault. And let's see what this last little bit of, it's going to be Mogwar Marshall. Okay, the last little stand, Mr. Marshall, the Gerblin man. And all right, there we go. So let's see what we rip into Command Tower. So let's go and go for that monstrosity. They have 0 cards in hand, so this is not going to work out that well, but at least we're going to be able to get those extra counters on there. And then let's go and push in. So we're going to have the Kroxa trigger. I guess technically we didn't have to go for monstrosity, but it's always nice to let old Stormbreath Dragon get a little monstrous. I'm sure it gets something else. Yeah, and unfortunately, this is a Rakdos mid-range deck. I always try to pair the games a little bit better as much as we can, but our opponent goes, I like the new commander, but I hate it now. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's pretty clunky to play against. So there we go. Knock our opponent down to -5. A huge shout out to our opponent for letting this game go to completion, and thankfully, we got to play against a friend of the channel, which is always fun. But yeah, long story short, Kroxa, the thing that makes Kroxa so good is that you're just attacking your opponent's hand very early on in the game. So as far as whatever sort of way you want to take Kroxa, it is completely open. Have some fun. Toss in all your good stuff cards in there because it's just one of those unique commanders in that the overall value is just attacking your opponent's hand, and you can assemble whatever sort of value board set you want to go for. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.